What currently legal thing do you expect to become illegal in the next 20 years? Telemarketing. God, please ban telemarketing. Make robodialing illegal and require that insurance companies, banks, etc. give people an option to talk to a human in the initial menu. Here in Switzerland, it is technically on the gray line. They can call you, but if your number is on a list and they still call you, you're allowed to take them to court. Commercials for drugs. Illegal in many countries already. I don't understand it to begin with. When I go to the doctor, they recommend the medication because they're the doctor. Do people go to the doctor and say, "Hey, I saw a commercial for Cymbalta. Can I have a prescription for it?" I mean, they must since they're advertising to someone, but it's just weird to me. I just assume the doctor knows better than I do. I've been trying many different treatments for a chronic condition. If I saw a commercial for one I haven't tried, I would probably ask my doctor's opinion about trying it. Multi-level marketing. A lot more people are seeing these for what they are. Some charities are sadly also MLMs. Autism Speaks is a huge example of one that makes my blood boil. I'm a dude with autism myself, and it's freaking revolting. Started as a pure place but became a money-hungry cesspool, and the founders' views destroyed that even more. Also, those who are saying the cancer ribbons are BS at least led to something. Avoid the jigsaw icon and blue light symbols at all costs if you truly are a group that wishes to help those with autism. It just makes you associate with those heartless people. And when I said pure place, I meant to help their son. Their views and the execution of the entire charity is what caused it to become the disgusting thing it is today. It's an MLM because of the pyramid scheme style it has in its funding management. MLMs, from my understanding, are just a different form of that. By the way, I met with a guy called Adam Harris recently. His organization, As I Am, is a good one if you're looking for an alternative. Autism Speaks is trash, and I hope they get exposed soon. If the game can be sold to children, it should not have microtransactions. More importantly, kids should not be playing adult games. I'm tired of 11-year-olds kicking my ass in Warzone. Since this is getting big, it's mostly a joke. I grew up as a young child playing these kinds of games. I was there when teabagging became a thing. I've been teabagged and I have done the teabagging. I have also been told how busy my mother is and have told others how busy their mom was. The trick is to be better than them. As a man in his 30s, I destroy children in Halo. Beauty contest featuring underage contestants. I want to say this will happen, but it will probably get worse. Have you seen dance recitals? Pageants seem classy in comparison. Government officials owning or trading individual stocks. You wish. Who would make that law? Also, they would just get their spouse to trade for them like they already do. Data privacy violations, hopefully. Depends on where you live. In Europe, GDPR is pretty awesome in this regard. GDPR is amazing in that it's actually been used to punish corporations for privacy breaches while simultaneously being completely useless for protecting the privacy of end users. You have to opt in to tracking and data harvesting now, so companies have started making insanely complex models with massive accept all buttons on them. Anecdotally, 95% to 98% of all users will click that. Completely manufactured consent there. We need laws that actually stop this crap. It shouldn't be legal to gather any data outside of access logs without real informed consent. If that completely destroys a given business, even better. If you can't exist without privacy violations, you shouldn't exist. Child marriage. Tennessee is trying to erase the legal age of requirements for marriage. I crap you not, there is like 1,000 dudes in Tennessee right now waiting for this law that they wrote to pass so they can marry each other's children. The deals are all made. Some money is involved. A lot of it is just church members trading their children to each other. Companies buying single-family homes, hopefully. This is something I've become more interested in because it's destroying the housing market in my area. If anyone is aware of bills or lobbying efforts on this, let me know. I would be interested in any organizations putting together model legislation. Single-use plastic. My hope, small hope, product packaging using combined materials. For example, plastic is glued to paper in a way that it is impossible to separate. This makes recycling almost impossible. Recycling, in most cases, is a scam anyway. Energy inputs exceed returns. Works for paper, metals, and glass, but not plastics. Best to just incinerate the plastics. At least then you can reclaim some of the energy inputs. Reduction is the name of the game when it comes to plastic. Go back to wax paper for food wrapping. Subscription services for certain product features. It's ridiculous that one requires a subscription service to use the key fob for his or her car. I feel that this is going to just get worse. I work at a car dealership. Was chatting with a customer who bought a new car for his daughter. He mentioned that he just wish it came with remote start. He thanked me after I told him that it's better to get it aftermarket because the manufacturer charges a yearly fee after 6 months. This subscription crap is getting predatory. Family vlog channels. There's been many instances where families have exposed inappropriate, intimate parts of a child's upbringing, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are legal cases in the future for exploitation or damages. I'd say it will be age-restricted at least, since the kids can't consent. My husband runs an ad agency and they do a lot of collaborations with influencers, some of whom have been around since they were really young, were pushed into the business by their parents, or these family/mummy blog situations. He always says in 15 to 20 years when these kids are adults, we're gonna see some unprecedented court cases of kids basically suing their parents for flaunting them online against their will. Often these influencers, God I hate that word, are making bank, and it would be interesting to see how much of this money actually reaches the kids or is just being spent by the parents. Anyways, we have a total ban on posting images of our kids online because of this. Skipping ads on YouTube. Adblocker wants to know your location. My VPN will answer that. Helium-filled balloons, at least for recreational use. Just replace it with good old-fashioned hydrogen. Going to work while sick. Did the pandemic teach us anything? I never understood this mentality. Just yesterday, I had a minor Crohn's flare-up. Nothing serious, just post-flare-up. It's not comfortable in general, for want of a better word. My boss? Stay at home and do what work you can for the day. Don't use up a sick day for that. Also my boss. You have a cold? Not COVID? Please work from home all the same. No need to pass it on to others. Nah, doesn't need a sick day, just do what you can. You have an awesome boss. There are so many idiot bosses who don't understand the simple fact that if someone spreads an illness to everyone in the office, you lose way more productivity than if that person uses a few sick days or works from home. Family YouTube channels. Does everyone remember that Daddy of 5 channel where the guy got in trouble and then canceled for abusing his stepkids on YouTube? Then, and you can't make this crap up, he made a rap song about how he was the victim or some crap. That's right, a rap song. What a time to be alive. I remember that. Those poor kids, especially the young one with glasses. My heart broke for him. Didn't CPS step in? In Europe, probably fireworks. People here make frickin' grenades and toss them to the police. In Germany, it's already illegal to use or buy/sell fireworks without prior approval, except for a period of a few days around New Year's. It's serious crap. Metro sells it earlier than other stores, but only if you can prove you're a reseller. I got a Metro membership, but I can't buy early fireworks because that's nowhere close to my business. During the height of COVID New Year, even regular stores couldn't carry any that year just because they didn't want to clog up hospitals with two kinds of idiots at the same time. Online tracking. I mean, why isn't this illegal already? If I would follow someone in real life and write down everything they do, I would get arrested. But Google can do exactly this with no problems. That would imply that Google doesn't lobby governments. Can we ban lobbying, please? I don't see it happening in 20 years, but damn, it'd be great. Charities spending less than 5% of the money that they are donated to the cause due to big overheads. One of the biggest disappointments was learning how little the Wounded Warrior Project actually spends on veterans. Most goes to overhead. Then they donate to other organizations with their own overhead. And lastly, they spend just enough on vets to drum up PR to get more donations. New Zealand has made it illegal to sell cigarettes to anyone born after 2010, even once they're adults. I feel like a lot of places will start doing that. Prohibition? Historically, it worked wonders. It's not even banned in Canada. We just have a crazy high sin tax and a third of all cigarettes are bought via black market. Deepfakes. I truly hope so. Face and voice stealing technology is super cool, but damn it's scary as frick at the same time. One thing is for industrial use. Think movies and TV, with consent and permission, but machine learning can be used criminally too. There is absolutely no way the internet is unregulated as it is now in 20 years. If you think that this is unregulated, no way you were there in the beginning. Yeah, I remember when it was actually unregulated. Advertisements for sports gambling. God, Ontario just allowed ads for sports gambling, and it's the most annoying thing ever. So this is why every pre-roll ad on YouTube has been nothing but sports gambling lately? I thought someone in my house must have started searching for it, but literally no one cares about sports or betting, so it made no sense. Commercial drones. Have you seen what Ukraine's been doing with small commercial drones? That has to be freaking out some politicians, military officials, and police. I get where you're coming from, but I don't really see how any ban can be enforced. Drones have so many commercial applications and can be literally made in someone's shed with a 3D printer and off-the-shelf electronics. I reckon that the police or whoever will just have to get really good at shooting them down and just trust that no one does anything stupid. Then ban sheds and shelves. Any expectations of privacy, anywhere, even in your own home. This is already happening, especially if you have smart devices in your home. Yeah, but you bought those smart devices probably, so once you buy and use a smart product, you've given up that privacy voluntarily. Granted, it should be in plain English and give to us in layman's terms what privacy we are agreeing to give up once we start using these devices. But who the hell reads the entire TOS agreement? I don't know. Thanks for your contribution. Probably some of our inalienable rights. Do you mean the ones that get taken away easily when you're labeled as a terrorist without needing to provide direct proof? Those rights? I hope our names are touching on the watch list. Smoking. Although it provides the government with a lot of tax, so probably not. Some states are rolling back the legal age for buying tobacco products to 21, so I don't know about that. Some countries are banning vapes because of declining cigarette sales. The death penalty. I don't have a stance on it, but I could see that happening. The majority of countries banned it decades ago. Not only that, but many of them hadn't even used it in years before banning it. They just never took it off the books to officially abolish it. Hopefully having a whole TV channel with the label of news but consisting of entirely fabricated alternative facts and mostly just really bad opinions. Basically, all corporate news channels. They aren't journalists, they are opinionated talking heads, and people take those opinions as facts, which is why we have such a misinformed segment of our country, and why these news stations don't do the one thing that journalists should do: hold truth to power. To sum up, you can have your channel with opinionated talking heads, but don't call yourselves a news channel because doing so misrepresents your content to the audience. I think the problem is the entire concept of 24-hour TV news channels. The right to protest is currently very limited in the UK, so that the most corrupt and inept government we've ever had can avoid being held accountable. Or at least they can easily ignore any attempts at protest, to the point that protest that can't easily be ignored is punishable by up to life in prison. If the public keeps voting them in, and I have no doubt that a nation mostly compromised of geriatric, easily led bootlickers absolutely will, then I fully expect protest to become totally illegal within 5 years. Never mind 20. In 20 years, I expect us to be even closer to Airstrip 1 than we are now. Couple this with the loss of privacy. The UK and Canadian governments want even greater control of the internet as they fear dissent, not disinformation. Of course, they will defend it with the big 3 reasons they always use: protect the public from terrorism, child exploitation, and organized crime. We're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Seriously, the entire cell spam industry needs to go. Everything from scam calls, please don't donate to your local police association, to those obnoxious political SMS texts. Retirement. Well, some countries keep upping the age to qualify for a pension. Mine is 67 at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes over 70 in 20 years. Soon, you'll have a useless certification discharge to prove that you're not able to work anymore and are free to live the rest of your life. People using speakerphone in public. I hope so. And people blasting music on hikes from a speaker. Smoking cigarettes. It is already headed towards a total ban in New Zealand, starting with minors under 14. I expect other places to follow suit. It will be kind of funny in 30 years when illegal tobacco growing mirrors what was going on with weed 30 years ago now. Hopefully big corporations/hedge funds and foreign investors buying single-family homes and renting them out instead of everyday Americans having the chance to own a home, which should be more feasible. Please God, social media algorithms that encourage repeat use and other such addiction engineering. Being homeless. Even though it's obviously not their choice, it's practically illegal now though, unless you're in a shelter, but those come with so many issues of their own. For-profit prison companies would love that. This is a weirdly optimistic thread, right? I was expecting people to be much more dystopian with culture war type stuff, but instead, it's let's stop smoking and stop exploiting children for views on YouTube. I think that advertising alcohol the way they do will become illegal. It's so bad for you and kills so many people daily, yet you go into your local shop and there's this massive alcohol section with big posters of people drinking together and slogans that almost push the idea of needing to have a drink to relax on a Friday, or pushing the idea that you can only have fun on a night out to drink. I mean, I drink as much as the next guy, but I always imagine what it would be like if they advertised any other drug like that. I always wonder what it would be like if cannabis was legal in the UK. It's getting hard to tell what's alcoholic and what's not. If my daughter wants a flavored sparkling water, I have to check the can really well to make sure she's not getting a hard seltzer. I'm not a big fan of regulation, but clear labeling would be nice. NFT/crypto scamming. Regulations are going to come sooner or later, and these pump and dump companies aren't something that's going to stick around long. Bitcoin mining. It's pretty terrible for the environment, and Bitcoin will probably be a thing of the past in 20 years or so. Some politicians will outlaw Bitcoin mining as some empty political stunt. If the people don't intervene with corrupt elitist politicians, the right to true ownership. Reheating fish in the office microwave. Looking at you, Marcus. Circumcision. Keep it legal, but kids should be allowed to sue their parents for it. That's the most American way to deal with it. Privacy. Currently, it has some very limited protections. Would not surprise me if in the future corporations manage to make it actually illegal to try to hide your information from their exploitation. Bright blue neon headlights, and good riddance. Cars without speed caps. I don't think speed will be an issue when it's illegal to drive on the highway using your hands. The highway is for self-driving vehicles only. People are way too optimistic about this. We have people that are keeping 30-year-old cars alive because they can't afford to buy anything new. How many absolute crap boxes do you see on the road? Poor people can't afford a new car, let alone a nicer used one. So in order for the highways to become FSD, only technology has to exist long enough that it's in vehicles that are 15 years old and selling for $2,000. On top of that, I see other issues like those cars in the Rust Belt, or how long can FSD vehicles last? People drive the crappiest vehicles during the winter to avoid their cars rusting out. So again, these FSD have to be cheap as hell. FSD is going to require a lot of sensors and tech on a car. If that tech can't last 20 years or so, then it won't catch on right away, since those cars will be bricked before poor people get them. Airsoft in Canada, in a few months. That sucks, airsoft is fun. It'll probably be illegal for civilians to buy fireworks in the US within the next 20 years. With how wildfires continue to be devastating each year, as well as how often accidents involving fireworks occur, I wouldn't be surprised to see fireworks made illegal. They'll probably only be available to professionals. Maybe in western states, but they're not a huge deal to the rest of the country not experiencing wildfires en masse. Pugs, sausage dogs, etc. We can hope. I feel so bad seeing them at the park. 3 minutes of running and they're gasping in the shade, watching the other dogs. They try to play and can't most of the time. The other dogs just zoom past them. Anything that has to gasp after each bark needs freaking help. Ad blockers. I doubt that. If they forbid that, a similar product will pop up anyway using a loophole in that law. Even if they do, who would care? It would merely become less convenient to install and use. They outlaw that crap tomorrow and I'm not uninstalling it. Cars with combustion engines. I can totally see the production of new ones being illegal in 20 years. I think it'll take more than 20 years. The whole infrastructure has to be redesigned for it, which is what takes time. Murdering queer people in some parts of Africa is legal, but hopefully not for long. Disagreeing with the government, military, and police. Slowly it creeps. Doxing. That's not illegal? Working more than 40 hours a week. That'll never happen here. Australia's biggest industry runs on people flying thousands of kilometers away from home to work 12-hour days for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. I think some of the ingredients found in American foods will be outlawed at some point. As we get more and more info about some of the most common food ingredients, like we've known for nearly 2 decades that high fructose corn syrup causes cancer in mice, and we already can't export it to Mexico or Canada, will be eliminated altogether. If not by regulation, then by consumers increasing awareness of the negative consequences. Also, private prisons. Congress's ability to trade stocks. DIY auto repair. You're gonna need a high voltage ticket. There's a large right to repair movement going on right now. Anyone can support it, and everyone should support it. Hopefully gambling ads here in Australia. It's ridiculous they're not already. Not having valid public transport and walkable cities. Okay, probably not, but one can dream. Sports betting in the US. Europe is already starting to realize how bad it is. Imagine the US will get there in the next 20 years. My state literally just legalized it. All gambling was illegal for as long as I could remember, except the state lottery. Now all I hear about at work is what games people are betting on. Cutting down healthy trees. This is never going to happen. Trees are farmed just like crops. Guns in Canada. Our government doesn't like us having them, and they've discovered it's really easy to take them away from us. The ability to purchase an AK-47 at 18 years old. 1. Post anonymously online. 2. Drive a combustion engine vehicle without a special permit. Negative outcome on this, but using a VPN to access, say, Netflix from another country. I can see lobbying and corrupt politicians trying to enforce this, even if it would be a total crapshoot to enforce due to the nature of VPNs. Or VPN companies being required to store their logs locally and make them accessible to big government or big corporation. American football for kids. Vaping in the United States. They'd rather have us smoke cigarettes. Freely speaking about what's on your mind. The popular weed killer Roundup causes cancer. Taking water from any natural source, unless you are a for-profit company. Excessive animal agriculture. Factual truth. It'll be replaced with emotions. Having things that aren't actually related to history on the History Channel. VPNs, Tor browser, etc. There seems to be a major push to infantilize adults, mostly gaining prominence as certain Twitter demographics hit their 40s and get upset that they can't control who their adult children date. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a major push to increase the age of consent to 21 or to try to treat anyone in full-time education like university as a pseudo-child. I wouldn't be surprised. America's drinking age was a slippery slope and also stupid. MADD was, and to this day, is a bunch of screaming Karens. Seriously, the drinking age is stupid. I had to sign up for the draft to vote and apply for student loans, yet I can't even drink. Protesting. The US likes to forget the First Amendment exists anytime it's inconvenient for them. Killing a bee. Privacy. This, especially on the internet. Probably not 20 years, but meat eating will one day be gone. Future people will look back at it like we do cockfighting. I say this as a meat eater. The wealthy will still be eating steaks. Regular people will be moved onto insects and lab meat. Overdraft fees. Nah, if the banking industry has shown anything, its rates go up and services go down. Find a FinCon group for you banking as opposed to a brick-and-mortar institution. Science class. If science can prove that I'm wrong, obviously science is wrong. Anti-science logic. The right to due process, the right to a speedy trial, the right to vote, the right to criticize the government. Pretty much everything in the Bill of Rights we take for granted here in the United States. Critical thinking will be illegal. Groupthink legal only. Bouncy castles. Stories about children getting injured or killed on one come out every few weeks. Aren't bouncy castles super common? If 1 million kids spent an hour doing any activity each week, then there will be occasional deaths. Ignoring the law of large numbers is how playgrounds get ripped out of childhoods and get hollowed out in exchange for really marginal increases in safety. Pro-hormones and SARMs. They're sold as research chemicals, not for human consumption. However, they have been slowly clamping down. Although I don't know if it'll ramp up. Formulas are changed a lot with RCS, which makes it difficult to keep everything banned. Hopefully not firearms and ammo in the US. I think the fear of guns being banned is pushing people to get guns now. After seeing that Canadian freeze on guns, it definitely makes me want to go get one before they try that crap here. Those group texts you get at 4 a.m. Maybe not illegal, but heavily regulated. 3D printing. Seems all cool and novel now, maker spaces and the like, but better 3D printed guns are going to be a thing. Proprietary parts will stop being a thing, and the ability to make stuff at home will be curtailed, because how then will the government exercise control? Using cash money, and that is a worrisome development. Piercing babies' ears and, I hope, routine circumcision. Humans driving cars. Maybe the law would require robots to drive and consider humans driving a public danger. I wish it wouldn't happen, but I have a feeling it will in the future, making it illegal to engage in social media without a digital ID, removing digital anonymity, and I'm sure they will hide the reasoning under the guise of addressing and mitigating troll accounts. Critiquing the government. In the United States, I would expect it to be voting. Okay, now let's take non-overdramatic answers. My little dream, data caps on mobile internet. Student loans should not have been legal in the first place. Experienced bankers holding imaginary carrots. Jokes. Lawn watering. Keeping animals in zoos or swimming with the dolphins. There are good zoos that do important conservation and research work. Regulation is the solution, not elimination. Kratom use, unfortunately. It helped me kick my addiction and helps with my back pain, and the FDA is trying so hard to make it illegal. Almost everything that can be fun. Driving a car in most major cities. It will be 100% self-driving cars and professional taxi/commercial drivers only. Driving yourself will be totally normal in smaller suburbs and rural areas still, but car driving amusement parks will start to appear for the nostalgic. People out here missing the prompt and just writing a wish list. Delta 8 THC. Loot boxes. Being transgender. I'm not even kidding. The politicians are saying outright they want to do this to us and running on it. Hopefully declawing cats. Newborn baby circumcision. Hopefully insider trading done by politicians and big business. Donating to cancer research in general is about as big a scam as there is, so here's the gist of it. We give said companies millions, nay billions of dollars to research different drugs for the fight against cancer. Then when someone gets sick, they charge us for it? Cancer research is not for curing cancer. It's for evolving the drugs to treat cancer. Cancer is a multi-billion, if not a trillion-dollar business that makes money the old-fashioned way. They steal it. I think vaping is actually much more harmful to us in the long term than we previously thought, and will probably be effectively banned in 20 to 30 years. Not illegal, but I think most cars will run on electricity and gas stations will be mostly probably stopover food courts with charging units. That'll probably take some more time. That said, I kind of fully expect that electric cars will eventually change to easily swappable batteries. Refueling will consist of placing your car in a slot or a machine and then switching out your empty car battery for a new full one before you drive off, and your previous battery gets recharged at the station for the next driver. Thanks for watching until the end. What do you think is going to happen? Let us know in the comments below. Then be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when our next video is available. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.